Hi, this is Sahana. In this video, we are going to learn controller in ASP.NET Core Web API.
In our last video, we have created this web API project and we discussed a little bit about it. If you are interested, do watch the playlist. You will find all the related videos and I'll keep updating that playlist. You can find playlist link in the description. In this session, we are going to discuss Web API controller because if you want to build your own Web API, then you should have good understanding of controller.
Controller is a key component in building Web API. It's a class that handles HTTP requests and HTTP responses.
This application has a class named Weather Forecast Controller.
If you notice, this weather forecast controller derives from controller base class. This is because controller base class is a special class that provides many properties and methods that are useful for handling HTTP requests.
One more important thing is we can apply different attributes to this controller class. In this case, API controller and root attributes are applied. Not only these two, based on the requirement, we can apply different attributes.
Let's quickly understand API controller attribute. This attribute offers several benefits to the controller class, like automatic model validation. We don't have to write custom logic to validate the model. Then automatic source parameter binding. If you pass any parameter, automatically that will be mapped. Then it enables attribute routing by default. These are the few important things to remember.
See, this controller class has one more attribute, that is root attribute.
This attribute is used to define a root template for a controller.
This allows us to create a root pattern based on the controller name without hard coding the controller name in the attribute. Next important component inside the controller class is the action method. See here, get is the action method. We say controller handles HTTP requests and HTTP responses, but the actual component that handles that request is the action method. Controller will take the responsibility of handling the request, then it passes that responsibility to the proper action method. If the request is to fetch the data or to get the data, then it will find out the required action method and it will hand out that responsibility to the proper action method. In this case, this action method handles the HTTP GET request. How do you know that? Here we have applied HTTP GET attribute on this method. So we know this method handles HTTP GET request. These are few important things that we should know while creating our own controller. As and when we create our own application and we make it complex, we get to know more other concepts. But for now, to begin with, these are important things that we should know. So let's go ahead and create our own controller. See, here we have controllers folder. This is the folder that we are going to use because this folder will have all the controllers. Now, we are already having this weather forecast controller. Later we can delete this controller. For now, let's keep it as it is. Right click, add, choose controller. This is selected as controller and we have three options: MVC controller empty and other two. If you choose this MVC controller empty, framework will add the controller which is suitable for MVC web application. See, because this is under MVC, but we don't want that. See, click on API, choose API controller empty so that we will get necessary template to work with web API. Click on add and I will name it as to do controller. Again click on add. See, we have this one. See, we have necessary things ready. We have, see, this is our to-do controller. This controller derives from controller base class, which is important. And we have these two attributes applied. One is API controller, root attribute. Now, another important component inside the controller is action method. Let's add it. Public iAction result. We will discuss more about iAction result in our upcoming sessions. iAction result. I will name it as get all. Need a return type. For now, I will return null. Later we can write the necessary functionality.
Each action method corresponds to a specific HTTP verb like get, post, put, or delete.
Let's map this action method to HTTP GET request. To do that, we have to specify HTTP GET attribute. This attribute maps this method to HTTP GET request. This is our simple to-do controller. In our upcoming sessions, let's learn more about Web API concepts and enhance this application. That's it for today's session. Thanks for your time. See you soon in the next video. Thank you.